In this video, we will talk about the sharing economy of co-working spaces, Coliving, and car sharing. By the way, scooters are also about sharing. Therefore, by watching until the end, you will know where you can work in great places in Warsaw without signing year-long contracts, and where you can live in cool places in Coliving within a great community, and how and where you can rent a car if you plan to be here short term and then fly to Valencia or Bali, or if your circumstances require you to use and maximize all opportunities for a short period.
From Warsaw, Daronish Evgenkovich business owners. With more than 2 years of mutual activity in Poland, yes, there's a great phrase in Atomic Habits that you need to discipline not yourself, but the environment around you. When you're sitting at home, there's a little stream running by, a fridge full of treats, and some Netflix. You have a lot of distractions to keep you from succeeding. When you're in a work context, whether you want to or not, everyone is working and getting things done. Therefore, if you want to talk about productivity, it's 100% about the environment. You can't do everything in one place. You can't sit at a desk and work, eat, and do other things. Well, you need to separate there.
Hi, my name is Yulia. I have an SMM agency and I work at Coworking Heavy Work. I've been in Poland for 2.5 years. Why do I like working in a co-working space? Well, let me say that it started back in Ukraine. I basically began my activities with co-working because it's easier to hire the first employee and not pay, for now, a certain amount for an office. When I moved to Poland, accordingly, I also missed the code where the business community environment. I remember my first co-working space was in Gdansk, so I worked there for a few months, found 5 Ukrainians with whom we communicated, and when I arrived in Warsaw, it was just, a must-have in my life, and in short, to be surrounded by the same kind of people. Guys who are doing something working in IT or digital, so for me, co-working is networking. It's basically additional productivity, it's cost saving. Because I tried in cafes too, but if you calculate all the expenses that come up there, it's more expensive than otherwise. I will do it here. I love, of course, to bring my own lunch boxes. There's a microwave here, coffee, and so you can discuss some ideas over coffee, by the way, how things are going, exchange experiences, and all of this is very super useful. Also, to have a meeting with a client, meet here in a decent place.
In a presentable place, right?
Yes, meet in a presentable place. I'll say this, I have a hybrid format. I work a little 1 or 2 days a week at home and 3 to 4 days you work in a co-working space. Specifically sometimes you want to be around people, you're more productive among people, and sometimes, honestly, you just want to see no one and be in silence. That's why I mix it up, and for me it's just a super format. Plus there are also some holidays, activities, and you don't fall out of this life. And of course, I'm a girl. I want to wear a beautiful dress, not just sit in pajamas.
My name is Artem. I've been in Poland for 2 years. I am involved in 3 areas. These are logistics in Ukraine, logistics in the USA, and food product export. Mainly, we sell bulk cargo from Ukraine to Europe. Why? Co-working. Even in non-Kyiv, there was always a desire to work in some cool business center with glass, nice renovations, and so on. We have quite a large number of staff, and our model, at least the way we operate, does not imply an A-plus class office where everyone could sit. And sitting separately from the team was quite difficult. But when the war happened and we moved, there was an opportunity to work only for us and our partner, so we could choose any space for ourselves and sit wherever we wanted. We chose WeWork. Actually, at first, I didn't think much about it, and when I first saw it, I really liked it. Then, of course, we did a bit of choosing, and I compared it with the CIS co-working space. We went to another one as well. I don't remember its name anymore, but the only worthy competitor to WeWork, I think, is CIS. But we didn't like that it was very quiet there. I think CIS is more suitable for people who like to work in silence. It's not very suitable for us, since we often have meetings, and plus, WeWork has already become a kind of local home for us because there are a lot of people, interactions, and friends here. That's why essentially WeWork 99% of the work is done from Jibovsk. And from here, because there are a lot of people and gatherings, more than in the others. That's why this is also an important point, yes.
I want to share with you what I've seen and talk about co-working spaces, Coliving, and car sharing in Warsaw. I'm doing this as a voiceover because unfortunately in all these places we weren't allowed to properly film the content as we wanted, so it's better to record awesome content and provide you with value. You can check out the objects themselves through the links in the description or visit them in person. What is economics? Sharing? What are these incomprehensible words? It's when people can share things, services, or even spaces with others without necessarily owning them. All of this happens through various online platforms where you can rent or exchange something. For example, you can rent accommodation through Airbnb, travel with someone by car via BlaBlaCar, or use city scooters. This helps not to spend money on things that are not used so often or that you don't want to own. I will talk about the 3 most popular and, in my opinion, the best co-working spaces in Warsaw. These 3 are the top spaces that I found. The first co-working space is CIC, not to be confused with CS, which is my last name. It's the CIS, Warsaw Co-working. This co-working space is located right in the center of Warsaw. Well, in the center, nowhere else. It is located right next to the central station Złot Tarasy and the Marriott Hotel. Right. In this building there is all the infrastructure. It's a co-working space and a building of Class A, meaning it's the highest grade of business offices. And indeed it is. Comfortable and cozy. I think it is most suitable for IT professionals or for those who need a calm, balanced work environment. The advantages of the co-working space are that it is located in the center of Warsaw. And probably it's a strong environment, specifically of Poles, because this co-working space had the most Poles. The next co-working space is WeWork, my favorite. We specifically chose it for our work. There are 5 of them in Warsaw. And the feature of WeWork is that these 5 locations are really in prime spots. Convenient. Very beautiful, scenic co-working spaces where it's really comfortable to work and switch between these co-working spaces. The advantages of WeWork co-working. It's the environment of Ukrainians and Belarusians in these co-working spaces. There are actually more of them than Poles. That's a fact. Secondly, there are many different locations. You can change your perspective and work in different places. Slightly lower price than in the previous co-working space. And of course, amazing views. All the co-working spaces are located on high floors. So it's really inspiring and motivates you to earn more. The downside is that there are issues with guests. They try to charge for everything. So you need to register guests. And with this, we, and not only us, have had certain difficulties. The next 2 co-working spaces, I'll combine them, are Business Link and Brain Embassy. They cost the same, but they are slightly lower in level. There are more flexible conditions for bringing in some guests and also for those who need it. There is parking available as an additional upsell. You can rent separate spaces for 3, 5, 10, 20 people. To summarize about co-working spaces, choose the one where the environment is important to you, if you are interested. In a Polish environment, then it's SITS, Business Link, and Brain Embassy. If you are interested in our environment, then it's definitely WeWork. Great. You've watched up to this point, which means you are truly interested in business in Poland. Support us by liking this video, leaving a comment, and subscribing to our channel. And if you are truly set on doing business in Poland, we can help you with that. Firstly, in terms of education, we have a great training product for starting and running a business in Poland. Secondly, consultations. And thirdly, services, company registration, sole proprietorship, and setting up business processes. Below the video, you will find all the links, and let's continue watching the episode. Well, let's move on. Coliving, it's something like a dormitory, but for adults and with proper separate conditions, with decent apartments. So the first co-living I want to talk about is Resi4End. We have a video on our channel from the apartments I filmed at their place. And indeed, it's a great company. Yes, it's a great co-living because firstly, they have several locations in Mokotów, 2 or 3. I will leave a link to the website in the description. Secondly, their customer service really works. So if something breaks, they come and fix it. The system is well organized and the deposits and guarantees are minimal. So interacting with them was quite convenient. The advantages of rent are, in principle, quite low prices. It's a decent average renovation, a large number of locations, and also a strong community, specifically Ukrainians and Belarusians. The next place is Pereka and Denaksa. I'll leave the website link in the description. And here is where things get interesting, because on the website it all looks very appealing. A direct view of the whole of Warsaw. Live, work, enjoy. And indeed, I was surprised when I came to look at different options. I looked at a studio, a comfort apartment, and large apartments, but the difference in reality is significantly worse. That is, in person, these apartments look much more worn out than on the website. On the website, it's all positioned as a super space where you can supposedly live, work, and enjoy. The center of Warsaw. By the way, it's not far from Grzybowska Street, near Rondo on Za. But in fact, I really didn't like it. Worn out entrances. And it's just unclear what the apartments are made of. Meanwhile, the rental conditions. On the website stated that you could rent for a short term, but in reality, the contract is for 1 year. With a 3-month notice period. Well, you have to give notice 3 months in advance, so consider it 4 months. There's a nuance that the apartments are even cheaper, but honestly, in my opinion, the cost of the apartment is not worth it. You can simply look for other options then. Sometimes there are good properties, so in any case, I'll leave a link to this project in the description. The next property is Levap. They have 2 locations. The first one is in Prague. If you look at the map of Warsaw, it's on the right, across the Vistula. I haven't been there. I was at the property in Mokotów. It's Pułaska, 126. And this project is shown on their website. Again, it looks fantastic on the website. A glass building, it's beautiful. But in reality, when I arrived there, I saw a standalone glass building near the avenue, around which the infrastructure is quite sad, to be honest. And a very small gym, a very small co-working space, well, literally like a cafe room. And neat. Apartments, I looked at 2 apartments. The funny thing is that the price for this apartment there was around the same 4,000 zlotys. Well, for 4,500 you can find something much closer than Pułaska 186, because getting from Mokotów to the center, well, it really took me a long time. The downsides also include the need to leave 2 deposits, which is about 7,000 zlotys, and you rent all this through a lease, Institute of Narnia. So you are renting it all from a company. The minimum rental period for this property is 6 months. Yes, by the way, I forgot to mention that in Razor for Rent, there are options where you can rent even for a month. A month, 3 months, half a year, and 12 months. And depending on this, the price will be lower. The last co-living is wonder. I really like it. A year ago, I lived there for almost a month. I was even ready to rent this space again. Why? Convenient location. It's near the Vistula and not far from the center. Pleasant, tidy apartments. They all follow the same standard. A bit plasticky, but still pleasant. And a great environment of interesting people. There's a good, large co-working space where there are separate areas for phone calls, a quiet zone, and a good kitchen. A shared kitchen, plus on certain days, they prepare communal meals for everyone. In short, it's an integration option. That's exactly what Wonder is, in my opinion. Now let's talk about car sharing. Car sharing is the ability to rent a car by the minute or by the kilometer. I highlighted 2 key services, Panic and Trafficar. For long trips, I prefer Panic because they have great cars. For short trips, the trips around the city or out of town, I like Trafficar because they have more cars. They are slightly cheaper and have slightly more flexible conditions. What's the catch? The catch is that taxis are not always convenient. You have to wait for a taxi, and if you need to go to many different locations, load something, transfer items, or move to another office, then actually a taxi will be more expensive. And so even when I was moving to a new apartment, I rented a van. The guys helped me load the things, and we moved with the items through a traffic car that we rented to the new apartment. There are many options for use, such as trips out of town or trips around the city, where you might have many locations and where a taxi is not cost effective, or maybe you just want to go somewhere to enjoy yourself and you don't have your own car there yet. And by the way, about cars. In Krakow, I had a car. After moving to Warsaw, I sold my car. And so I lived for a year without a car in Warsaw. And this lifestyle suits me. I was very comfortable. That is taxis, car sharing, public transport, trams, metro. I use all of them and actually save money on this. And for now, I'm comfortable because once again, my lifestyle allows me to do this. Well, that was a brief excursion into the world of co-working spaces, Coliving, and car sharing. I hope this was useful to you. Like and subscribe to the channel.
And let's continue watching the episode and listening to why people choose co-working cycle. Hi, my name is Vitorila. I've been in Poland for 10 years. I'm an avid co-worker. Yes, probably for 20 years, starting from Ukraine, from Kiev. I host in co-working spaces. I absolutely love it. And here's why. Yes, why not my own box, but co-working spaces? Well, first of all, it's the open space format and a large area there for some kind of single subscription that would cost as much as a small 2x4 room or a cage. But I get, and it's important to me because I have a creative profession. We have a lot of creativity because clients sometimes come with tasks that require creativity. You get a huge space, cool with beautiful furniture, the ability to change your point of view. That is, sometimes I don't sit in the same place every day, in some other spot at a different table. Moreover, in Warsaw, it can also be in another co-working space. For example, if we talk about WeWork as Shamai, WeWork right now, yes, with one card you can sit in WeWork in Warsaw. There are about 4 or 5 locations here, I think. And in all major capitals of the world, in those developed countries like in Canada, I was in WeWork, my partner was in Paris and WeWork. In Spain, there's one in Barcelona. These are co-working spaces. You want it with one card. So it's not just an office, but a network of offices around the world, which is very cool. That's the first thing. The second is the people. So there's real activity here, unlike behind closed walls. Here you can sit next to some well-known entrepreneur who handles million-dollar investments, or some big prominent blogger who is also very recognizable, or with a guy whose courses cost 15,000 euros per course. And you sit next to him or have tea and you can chat in an informal setting, make some connections, find common ground. In co-working spaces, I had a lot of clients. In co-working spaces, I had contractors, many great contractors, especially for technical aspects. In co-working spaces, I get a lot of motivation because you see these people's stories every day, every time, and you think, oh, it was possible like that, so it's possible for me too, meaning a lot of motivation. Well, returning to the space, the coolest option was in Krakow. We were in a co-working space in Kubravma, and by paying for several memberships, that is for me and my partner, yes, we had the opportunity to host an event for 300 people just like that. That is, we took over the entire hall for ourselves, but in the evening so as not to disturb anyone, and we did it for 300 people. The event was covered by just 2 memberships, so it's an opportunity to use a huge, cool, beautiful space and all that infrastructure. Printer, coffee, toilet paper for 6. When you start your own office, you begin to play the role of the manager, providing coffee, dealing with the printer, toilet paper, cleaning stuff, and so on. Here, everything is usually well organized with a proper co-working space, all inclusive. So definitely co-working.
Well, you feel free, and you have communication with people. Co-working spaces are generally located in interesting places where you can socialize, meet new people, and broaden your horizons. Working from home, well, I think you can last a week at most. And if you somehow suppress yourself, close all your chakras. The office, I think after COVID, is a relic of the past, and the whole world has realized that there's no point in maintaining huge buildings. Co-working, I think, is a step into the future, specifically for a certain segment of people who are used to being free, open, and friendly.
What else do you use in terms of rental? Here, in Warsaw, sharing? With the economy, what about you? Well, okay, I share a car, but that was definitely not in Poland. Yes, in Europe. Once. I definitely regularly try scooters because I just love it. In general, the idea of sharing, well, probably I share a plane. I fly, yes, in some way. Well, I just think that the idea of sharing is definitely brilliant. I mean, the value. That is underutilized, yes, it's very cool. By the way, what's great about co-working is, although it's not always allowed, we all use the rooms when they are free.
If we add more about rentals, it's renting a bicycle, it's renting a scooter. These are essentially the benefits that Poland and Warsaw provide. There are equipped bike paths where you can ride comfortably and feel good.
No, actually, I really love sports. And in Warsaw, it's generally very accessible and convenient. And one of these types of sharing is bicycles. Viturila, that is, it's the simplest, cheapest way to ride around in the summer, see Warsaw, visit parks, all these beautiful places. And of course, scooters when you're returning home in the evening from a party where you, well, we see scooters everywhere. Very convenient. You just approach, scan, you fly. Without getting stuck in traffic, you get there quickly with the wind in your hair. And I love scooters.
Yes, I've never used a car in Warsaw. I was thinking about charters. And is it possible to fly on a charter through sharing? Well, it's interesting. You seem to go through an app and they offer some very affordable prices and you can fly on a charter.
I use many things, let's put it this way. First, the studio with gold. If we need quality video shooting, we share, yes, meaning we use studio sharing. I use a car almost every weekend. I take a car, a bike. When the season starts, I'll use the summer ones again. A scooter, used one today. A motorcycle, moped, scooter, but I also used them when I lived in Krakow. So she actively uses the sharing economy technology. If I needed some cool professional equipment for a one-time use, I would also share. We even shared people in the sense that we hired someone who was employed at one company, but we needed him for part-time work, and we could share him for a certain number of hours a day. So even this is part of sharing, essentially share Bambi, meaning when there's a birthday or some holiday, we try to go somewhere out of town. And of course, this is also sharing a nice little house that you don't need every day, because that's where the spiders and wolves start and so on, but it's nice to live in the forest on the weekends, go for a barbecue.
So friends, why did we go through all this? Why did we tell you? all this? First of all, think about how you can use this, how you can use these business models for yourself to earn money. For example, we recently received a request on our website from someone who wants to sell a co-working space, a whole co-working space. Thesis number 1 is how you can use this for your business. Thesis number 2 is in the context of opportunities. I know that many of our subscribers live in different countries. Some live in Turkey, in Istanbul, in Singapore, in Bali. Share your opinion about Warsaw. What do you use in Poland or in the country where you live? And do you think there is really a trend in this? Is our world really moving towards that? Owning certain items, movable or immovable property, is becoming increasingly difficult. Yes, and this sharing economy will develop. Thank you for watching this video. I believe it was useful for you. And if so, support us by liking this video, subscribing to our channel. And below the video, there is a comment section. Ask your questions, discuss the episode, and we will be happy to answer your questions.